my garage. This is my 2012 Porsche Cayman S, and I'm on my way to my first HPDE. Hey, welcome back to the channel and to the Cayman. And if this is your first time joining me, thanks for dropping by. So I'm on my way to my first high performance driver education event, or HPDE. And if you don't know what HPDE is all about, check out the suggested video link up here in this corner. It's a link to my video all about HPDE that explains what HPDE is, what it's about, and just how you would get ready for doing your first HPDE. It is god-awful early in the morning. I had to get up this morning before 5 o'clock so that I could leave the house before 6 in order to be down in Stark, Florida by the 7:30 gate opening time. I'm heading down to the Florida International Rally and Motorsports Park, also known as the Firm. It's supposed to be an absolutely gorgeous day, mostly sunny, highs in the mid-60s, and just absolutely perfect. A light breeze blowing, which kind of reminds me of the first time I went snow skiing in Colorado. It was a similar day, perfectly clear, mid-60s, absolutely gorgeous. I never got another day of skiing that was that good, but hopefully that's not going to happen this time. I have many more beautiful HPDE days coming up. The thing is that right now, it is freezing cold. The Cayman thermometer says it's currently 37. Now, I know a lot of you around the country are saying, hey, 37 is not all that cold, but you know, this is Florida. 37 is when we gather our loved ones and prepare to die. I'm very excited about today. I'm a little nervous, not so much for the driving, but just not knowing how things work at an HPDE, you know, how things are going to go, how people are going to be. I've heard over and over again that PCA gatherings are really friendly, that everyone's, you know, helpful and open. I certainly hope that's true, because as a novice at this, I don't want to look like an idiot or be told that I'm an idiot. So I've got a little over an hour of driving left before I get there. I'm going to stop right before I arrive at the track in Stark and top off the gas tank and then head on into the track. I'll be back when I arrive.
Unfortunately, that was the end of having no problems with the GoPros. They began misbehaving in a variety of ways, including recording static on top of the audio, recording no audio at all, and, worst of all, producing corrupted files. And this isn't the first time I've had issues with GoPros. Honestly, I don't see how GoPro has become such a huge company producing such unreliable products. The files that the GoPro destroyed were all the videos of the off-track stuff, like driver's meetings, the classroom instruction, and other cars that were there. So I'll just describe those things while running some photos of the day generously provided by 717 Media, a freelance media production company that was taking photos and videos that day. There were also some photos provided by the Firm. Be sure and check them out at gorally.com. And finally, some of the photos came directly from the Thoroughbred PCA region. I got to the gate around 15 minutes before check-in started. Now, I had heard that the gate button was kind of finicky and hard to reach, so I was glad to see they had an attendant there waiting to help people get through the gate. Once I was through the gate, what was interesting is that the entrance road is one of the roughest pieces of road I've ever seen. And it's kind of ironic because you're going to a racetrack. I think I would have been more comfortable driving my Hummer rather than my Porsche. So I finally made it to the actual track entrance, where I was greeted by a group of very friendly people checking in drivers and having us sign various paperwork, COVID waivers, safety waivers, essentially saying that, well, if anything bad happened to us during the day, it was essentially our fault. I also received a nice little information pack with some stuff about the firm, a track map with all the passing zones marked, and a wristband which I forgot to put on, and no one ever asked about. All that was left was to sign the technical inspection form, figure out where I was supposed to go park, and then I was all set to go. The parking area, or paddock, was just sort of an open, grassy area where everyone was just finding a spot to park. I would spend a lot of the day hanging out with two other novices, Gary and Wallace. Coincidentally, I happened to park right next to their 911s. There were a large variety of cars there, including, of course, many 911s and Caymans, but there were also quite a few Boxsters, Spyders, a very fast and loud GT3, and even a couple of Macans. After standing around in 40-degree temperatures for a while, we had the drivers' meeting, which was outdoors, so it wasn't any better. First, the track manager talked about the mechanics of how the track operates, how the flag system works, what the various flags mean, where the flag stations are located, and what to do if you end up going off track. He also talked about where it is and isn't safe to walk around, and most importantly, the bathroom locations. Next up was the event manager from the Florida Thoroughbred PCA region, who talked about scheduling, run groups, novice instruction, and track etiquette like passing. It's important to know that PCA HPDEs are controlled events where passing is only allowed in certain parts of the track and only when the driver gives you a signal to pass, known as giving a point by. It's important for drivers to both honor the point by system and to watch their mirrors and give a point by when someone behind you is obviously faster than you. More on that topic later. Over half the drivers that day were in the novice class, so we started with 4 novice groups, which was unfortunate because only one novice group could be on the track at a time, and they were interleaved with the intermediate and advanced groups, which meant that I only got one run the entire morning, which was pretty disappointing. But things would get better in the afternoon. I was in the first novice group, which turned out to be a bad thing. Just before my group's first session, we met with our instructor. Instead of doing in-car, one-on-one instruction, this HPDE was being done in a lead-follow format, where the students follow the instructor in his lead car, where he would be giving track information and instructions over the radio. Literally, your car stereo, tuned to a particular frequency. Then the big moment. We lined up behind the instructor car and verified that we could hear him over our radios, and he was coming in perfectly clear. But the instant we started onto the track, we got nothing but static. I'm guessing his engine was generating some kind of interference. The bottom line was that while the first session was fun and interesting, we learned almost nothing. I was certainly glad that I had watched several videos on how to drive the track, and so I didn't miss out on a whole lot other than some of the small subtleties of how to handle the track. After a delicious barbecue lunch provided by Porsche of Ocala, a number of people left, including quite a few of the novices, so we were down to just 3 novice groups. However, I got shifted to Group 3, which meant I didn't get back on the track until almost 2:30. This time, the instructor's radio was set to a different frequency, so we were actually able to hear what he was saying this time.
There it goes, okay.
Now, I'm sure David is an excellent instructor. He's the lead instructor for the Denver area PCA region. But, to be honest, this lead follow thing just doesn't work. Maybe if you're the car right behind him, it's okay. But if you're any further back, you really can't see where he's at when he's saying things like brake here or get back on the accelerator here. Also, it seems like this guy who was the lead novice was really tentative and David kept having to slow down, so it was a bit frustrating. I knew we were nowhere near the limits of the car or my fledgling skills. I wanted to go faster. So while we were going quite a bit faster on the second session and it was fun, again, I simply didn't learn much of anything. As the day progressed, more and more people left. By the third session, they decided to just let the novices run by themselves, which sounded great. However, it turned into the most frustrating part of the day. The Macan, who was at the head of the line, would not give anybody a point by, despite having a solid line of cars right behind him. He said later that he didn't realize he was holding us up. Luckily, the day was not lost. By the fourth session, we were down to just 4 novices. I was determined not to repeat session 3, so I was ready, and as soon as they called for the novice group, I jumped in and I got the pole position. I was determined not to be held up again, so as soon as that green flag waved, I was gone. I've included the entire final session, along with car data that was captured using Track Addict and a V-Peak Bluetooth OBD2 transmitter. So, like an idiot, I take off out of there, even though I've got cold tires. Now, turn 1's no big deal because I'm still going slow, but turn 2, I got into trouble. First of all, I took a bad line and hit an early apex, and then kind of sliding off the side there a little bit. So I ended up with an exit speed of only 49 miles an hour. Because of that slide, I took turn 4 a little overcautiously. Turn 5 also did not go well because it was just a little too fast for my tires still being so cold. At this point I said, okay, this is stupid. I just need to take this first lap, warm up my tires, and then I can start pushing again. Okay, let's try this again. I gotta say, this turn 10, turn 1 combo is probably the most fun point on the track. And back into this 2-3 combo, okay, hit the apex a lot better this time, I keep under control. And instead of exiting at 49, I'm coming out of there at 56. At this point, I had to slow down and let one of the other cars go by me. I don't know why, but in this last session, they let some of the advanced drivers out there on the course with the novices, which was kind of irritating because we kept having to let them pass. And, the point of having the novice session is so that only novices are out there, right? This is one part of the track where I could probably pick up quite a bit of time one day, but gotta be honest, that wall just makes me nervous, and I just, I don't know. One of the more difficult parts for me mentally was setting up for this 10-1 combo, because you need to get all the way over to the side there before you turn in, and I would forget that and not get over tight on that side. This is another section I found pretty challenging during the day, just from a mental standpoint, was keeping my speed up going into these S's and then not dropping a bunch of speed while going through them. Also, what I found tough was remembering to get all the way over to the left here in order to set myself for this hairpin turn. I just forgot over and over and over again. here it comes, the highest speed of the day. Take a look to the right and see who's leading that line of cars over there. As we go through the number 8 turn, notice the yellow line over there on the railing. That is the midpoint of the curving. You're supposed to be up right tight next to the railing at that point. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. As I mentioned before, I had been watching a lot of videos on driving the track, and based on those videos, I had kind of set a personal goal for myself to get one lap at least under a minute 30. After improving dramatically on lap 2, I seem to be going backwards here. Well, lap 5 was a pretty good improvement as I set my best time of the day so far, but lap 6 is where it really all started to come together. Not coincidentally, it was on lap 6 where on every corner I did one of the best, if not the best job of going through that corner and holding my speed to the S's. The only exception was turn 8 where the wall freaked me out and I just didn't keep up a very good speed through that. So here goes lap 6. And there it is. I didn't notice it at the time, but I had gotten my goal of having a lap under 1 minute and 30 seconds. I felt like I was really in a groove, things were clicking, and I probably could have done maybe even a little bit better, but alas, it was not to be. And if you look up a little ahead of me on the track, you'll see why. Yes, once again, it's my buddy in the white Macan. Now, I am not begrudging him being on the track. I'm not, upset that there's a slower car out there with me. It's just that he should have known I'm running faster than him because I wasn't in his rearview mirror, and then suddenly I was. I caught up to him quickly, and yet it takes him an entire lap before he finally lets me pass him. So the end of lap 7 was just, I was held up. I'm held up through the vast majority of lap 8, and well, lap 9 ends up being a short lap. So I feel like I could have done better, but it just didn't work out that way. But if you are at an HPDE, please, if you're driving a slower car or you are a novice driver, watch your mirrors. And if there's somebody back there, err on the side of caution and let them go by. I've been sitting here behind him, for quite a while now, and every time he hits up one of the passing zones, he just speeds up, and I can't get by him. And, he doesn't give me a point by, and at this point, I'm getting kind of frustrated. So, if you look in my rear view mirror there, you're going to see that the one of the other cars, one of the advanced drivers is also now sitting back there. So I decide I'm going to slow down now, let the other guy, give him a point by, let him pass, and maybe he'll finally get the message. And in fact, when I do that, he finally kind of gives a point by. Now, he's supposed to give another point by for me, and you kind of see his hand poke out the side, but that is not a proper point by. If you're going to do a point by, you have to do a point by for each car, and you're supposed to be sticking your entire arm all the way out the window so it's very clear that you're giving the signal. One of the hardest things I found during the day was to actually look at the flag stations. Like if you look at the one on the left there, he is now waving the checkered flag to indicate that this section is over. I didn't see it. To be honest, I don't think I actually noticed that flag station all day long. Now the second station here, they're also waving the checkered flag. And again, I don't see it. So I'm still kind of going full speed, and then I realize I'm catching up with these guys. Something's going on. And when I come around here, now I look at the flag station and realize, oh, we are done. So we're really on our cool down lap, and we're just going to take it easy this last section, let the brakes cool off some, and head on into the paddock. So as we're taking our cool down lap here and headed toward the paddock, I'm kind of looking around various things, and I realize I got my sub 130 lap.
129. I got it.
I I'd like to take a moment and say thank you to the Florida Thoroughbred Region of the PCA for putting on the event. I thought you did a fantastic job, especially considering that this was your first time ever organizing an HPDE. I had a fantastic time. All that was left to do was go back into the paddock, pack up my stuff, and head on home. I gotta say, it was really kind of tough on the way home, staying under the speed limit and not going through curves at excessive speed. I don't have my new radar detector yet, so thank God for cruise control. Now, before you go, please go down there, find that thumbs up button, and give me a like on the video. And while you're down there, if you're not one of my 3,000 subscribers, go click on that big red subscribe button and join the channel. Doesn't cost a thing, doesn't hurt a bit, I promise. And finally, if you want to keep up with everything I'm doing, including all the upgrades that I'm doing to the Cayman to have even more fun on the track, go click on the bell icon to turn on notifications for this channel. That way, YouTube will let you know every time that I post something new, from cool events like this or other fun stuff happening in Cliff's garage. I'll see you next time.